What is up, YouTube? HPJ here, and I am coming at you guys with red and yellow hybrid. It is red and green hybrid. I say yellow. Red and green hybrid. It's time for Zoe to make her reappearance on the channel. And while people did not like my last build, I'm gonna basically, screw it. I'll just make a new build. If people don't like it, it is what it is. The only card that I don't have that I would like to have for this deck, which I do have some update on that, is Susanoo Ace, which I found out my store does have some Susanoo Aces. So I probably only need like maybe 2. And that definitely will help out with the level 7s in this deck. But overall, I want to give this deck a full look at once more, because there are a lot of things I don't want to add to it, but there are a lot of things I'll have to take out, because it's very strange to build green and red as a hybrid deck, because the Spirits of Wind were normally yellow, and Bandai decided not to give yellow any more strength than it already has, because as you can see, Yellow Vaccine, the 3 Great Angels, a lot of those decks and their competitive level probably hinted to why BT 18 and 19 had to have a lot of changes to it. And I can understand them changing Zoe from yellow into red and green, because while red and green already have their own basis of things, I'm going to honestly say making Zoe yellow and pairing her with either green or yellow, but it definitely gave boost to those colors. So making her green and red kind of helps balance it out a bit. But as it stands, I don't like the new Emperor Greymon build. I just rather stick to the older variant and then probably just add some of the newer cards like I did in my previous video. So for this video, I'm going to be focusing on just the Spirits of Wind. I have a couple of extra cards to kind of help out the deck, and I will explain why I have those couple of cards to help the deck itself out, because while this is more of a fun deck itself, there are a lot of pieces that I wish Zoe had initially, but you have to pull from green and you have to pull from red in order to make it work out. So with that in tow, let's go ahead and get into this. So starting off Arma Digitama, I'm running 4 copies of Coromon from BT14. Then going into Digimon, we're going to start off with my level 3s. I'm running 2 copies of Pokemon from BT7 with 2 copies of Pokemon from BT18. Then I'm running the 3 copies of Flamemon from BT17 with 3 copies of Flamemon, excuse me one second, from BT12. And then BT18's 3 copies of Tinkermon. So that's it for my level 3s. Now we're going to go into my level 4s. And my 4s start off, of course, funny enough, with 2 copies of Agunimon from BT18. Then it is paired with, of course, the Spirits of Wind, with 4 copies of Kazemon from BT18. Then 4 copies of Zephyrmon from BT18. And then that is it for my level 4s. For my 5s, 6s, and even my 1-7, I'm running 4 copies of Jet Sylphimon with 4 copies of Ancient Kazemon and 1 copy of Omnimon. And that rounds out my 5s, 6s, and 7s. Then for my Tamers, so I'm running 3 copies of Zoe Orimoto from BT18, then 3 copies of Tachikawa Mimi from BT14, and 3 copies of Takuya Kanabara from BT12. So those are my Tamers. And then for my option cards, I'm running 3 copies of Crimson Blaze, then 2 copies of Offensive Training, 2 copies of Gravity Crush, and 2 copies of Atomic Inferno. Actually, it's supposed to be Atomic Inferno, then it's Gravity Crush. There we go. So that is it for all of my cards. The 50 in the main, the 4 Digitama. So, alright, we're going to have to go through this, and trust me, I have no problem with talking about these in explanation. So, starting off with the Digitama are the 4 copies of Coromon. Coromon from BT14 is really great for these red hybrid variants, because whenever security is removed from your opponent, security stack, you get to draw one card. So it's draw power. That's simply what it is. And including itself in the stack definitely does pay off for inheritables, especially when you have a lot of the inheritable stuff that you're going to be playing in this deck. Cormon just seems to be one of the big bases. If you're going for a lot of the sort of lockdown cards like the Gatsumons, the Gasamons, the Goblimons. This also helps out with them because then they can just go into your hybrid cards as well. Like I said, this is not a competitive deck. This is it's a decently built deck with put together cards. So that is Koromon. Now we're going to go into the meat of things. So let's talk about these level 3. Starting off with Pokemon. So both of these Pokemon are really great. They're both basically searching out for your tamer, your Digimon that has 10 warriors are hybrid in its trait. Now the only big difference between these two is that Pokemon from BT18 can be put on top of your Digitama and probably just use that. You can just swing and get your extra draw. The other benefit to this Pokemon is that, unlike its predecessor, it gains a memory whenever a Digimon or a Tamer would Digivolve into a Digimon with Hybrid or Tin Warriors in its trait. However, Pokemon from BT7 is the one that will give you 2 memory when one of your Tamers would Digivolve. So, while this one doesn't include the Tamer, or this one doesn't include the Digimon, this one does, but it only gives you half of what this one does when the Tamer becomes the Digimon. It's payoff. Otherwise, Pokemon from BT7 is going through 5 cards, while Pokemon from BT18 is simply going through 3. So, that is the Pokemon. Then, let's talk about these additional cards, and of course, we gotta talk about the Flame Mod. So, these two are basically here to help out with more of the search and more of the ground setup for going through the deck. I easily think that I may not need the Flamon from BT 12, but it is in here for additional draw power. For its on play, I can discard one card with hybrid in its trait and then draw 2 cards. This is most likely why I want to play the Susanomon build, and there's also thinking of a build that can cooperate both wind and fire spirits. So that way, whatever I dump off of one, I can use the other to then benefit as well. So it is a lot that goes into it. I'm not gonna lie, and there is a couple of things that I said even in my red hybrid that I wanted to build up as well. So it's still it's manageable. The Flamon from BT17, that is just another searcher as well. And can get to my cards. They're inheritables. BT, what is it? One can play a tamer. The BT17 one plays a tamer from your hand with an inheritable without paying the memory cost. While the Flamon from BT12 gives your pin hybrid, your hybrid or 10 warrior card 2K DP, not 12K, 2K DP. Alright, and then we have the Tinkermon that we're adding to this. So she's supposed to be what Flamemon and Loemon are. That's not Loemon. I forget what the other one is. The one for Koji. But basically, this is supposed to be the rookie form of the Spirit of Wind. And funny enough, Tinkermon is still a virus. She's not a vaccine or really much just fairy. But her inheritable is that when a Digimon would Digivolve into a Tamer, or any of your Digimon, when any of your Digimon or Tamers would Digivolve into a multicolored red or green, you reduce the cost by 1, so it's just a simple dropout. But she gives the inheritable of Piercing, which isn't too bad. It's still manageable, but the only downside that I have against Tinkermon is that when she Digivolves off of a Digitama, she would have to pay the 1 cost. So it could be used as a good chokehold, if anything, but it's still like, that little problem. So, yeah, I just wanted the 3 of us, because now we're going to go into the spirits of wind and fire that I'm going to be making up this deck. So we have Zephyrmon, we have Kazemon, and we have Agunimon. Now, Agunimon is here simply because I wanted to play off of my Takuyas who are here to help as well. And with this, when this Agunimon, on Digivolution, I can return one card with Hybrid or 10 Warriors or a Tamer with an inheritable in its trait from my trash to my hand, so I can recycle my pieces. This kind of seems like something I definitely should be running more of, and I probably will in a later build. But definitely, yeah, this is the bonus card I wanted to give, and it does have some good reliable setup to it. So the other ability attached to this is the 2 KDP inheritable, which is perfectly fine. It more so works with a Gunimon, pure Gunimon decks, or pure Spirit of Fire decks, the Fury hybrids. Then we have Kazemon, who on Digivolution, she can suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Then once a turn, when attacking, you may, if a Digimon of yours or a Tamer would Digivolve into a green or red Digimon card with Hybrid in its trait, you can reduce the Digivolution cost by 1. So you can easily go into some of your slight evolutions with a reduced cost of 1, while her inheritable allows you to put a Tamer with an inheritable effect from your hand. No, from this Digimon Digivolution source without paying the memory cost. So if you have Takuya or Zoe, you can easily just play them back onto the board. Then we have Zephyrmon. Zephyrmon has piercing, so when you're attacking an opponent's monster, you can check the security. Her on-player, when digivolving, gives 3 KDP to one of your Digimon until the end of your opponent's turn. And she also comes with her inheritable of piercing. So, not too bad for Zephyrmon. Yeah, 4-4-2, although this ratio can easily change and maybe go 3-3-3, so I can add some different pieces as well. But those are my level 4s. We're gonna go into my level 5, 6s, and even the one level 7. So when I was building this deck, I was having some issues with understanding some of the stuff. So it just is kind of a situation. But I love hanging out with this Jet Sylphimon, going into combination with this Ancient Kaze, and then we have Omegamon just to round things out. With Zephyrmon, she can do a Digivolution on any red or green hybrid for a cost of 3. You can place a Kazemon, a Zephyrmon in your trash under any red or green tamer and then Digivolve into this for a cost of 3, ignoring the Digivolution requirement. So basically kind of similar to some of the other hybrid Digimon that can do that as well. She has Raid, which I forget what Raid does, so don't quote me on that. I'll probably figure out later and leave in the comment section. But her on-Digivolving effect allows you to suspend one of your opponent's Tamers or Digimon, and they can't unsuspend to the end of their turn, which is great because it can do some stuns to a lot of card effects. The other ability of this Jet Sylphimon curse is her inheritable, where she gives your Digimon plus 2 KDP. Ancient Kazemon, on player when Digivolving, can suspend all of your opponent's Digimon with equal to or less DP than this Digimon. So with the more DP she has, the more cards she can suspend, and then they can't unsuspend to the end of your opponent's turn. Then during all turns, when this card will leave the battle area, you can play a level 4 or lower Digimon with an inheritable trait of Hybrid, Avian, Bird, or Fairy in its traits from this card's Digivolution source without paying the memory cost. And she can Digicross with Kazemon and Jet Sylphimon for a minus of 2 on her Digivolution. So that's pretty cool. With the Digicross, I think the ability is really great for the suspend, and then they can't unsuspend. And even with that, what was it? The unique ability to play the bird, the avian. I wish it would have said cyborg too, because Jet's something on. But I can see where we're going with just wanting to recline into some of the other hybrid cards and take advantage of them. Now, Omnimon is here. Omnimon is technically only here because I don't have Susanomon Aces. I have regular Susanomon, which I guess could work as a substitute if you can't get the Susanomon Ace, because I don't know how expensive Susanomon Aces are, but you can try to go get. Like if you need I mean, what else could work? Quartzmon, if you're willing to pay what, 10 to 15 for Quartzmon. Quartzmon could be a good fill-in for Omnimon. I think Quartzmon would probably be a great fill-in for this just because it suspends stuff and it can't suspend except for Quartzmon, so you do have some advantage there. But yeah, I just really want the Omnimon because it has the blitz and it can come in swinging. So, and then with all the different inheritables that it has, the piercing, the 2K DP, I figure Omnimon would be a great value to this. But like I said, you can easily take it out and put in someone else just to fill in those quotas with their abilities. Alright, we're going to move into the Tamers. And for my Tamers, I'm running Takuya, I'm running Mimi, and I'm running Zoe. Now, Mimi is probably the odd man out because Mimi isn't Mimi from BT1. This is Mimi from BT14, who, when your turn, when an effect of your Digimon, when an effect to suspend a Digimon by suspending this Tamer, you can gain a memory, which is most likely why she's here. The other ability is basically just to go get Kazemon or Tinkermon on the reveal. I really don't have too much to say. You can easily switch this Mimi out with Tachikawa Mimi from BT1 if that's how you want to get, because that's the memory starter. Mimi. That's the one that, if your memory is 2 or less, you jump it to 3. Then we have Zoe over here from BT18. Was it at the start of your main phase, you can discard a card with Hybrid or 10 Warriors and then draw 1 card. It's just a simple draw card. Her inheritable, though, is when it leads an opponent's Digimon battle. You may play a Tamer from this card's inheritable without paying memory costs, which is good. It's just recycle and put more Digimon, put the Tamers back into play. And Takuya over here. Jumps your memory to 3. When that's 5 return, then an inheritable of giving your Digimon 2k DP. If your Digimon has 10k DP or more, when it checks your opponent's security, you gain 2 memory, which is not too bad as well because hybrid decks definitely love benefiting from their memory. So the only real thing, like I said, that I honestly have the issue with is probably just the Mimi, because I'm probably and most likely am running the wrong Mimi. But if I get the Mimi from BT1, then I'll play her. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to look into some other variations, or just build the red and green hybrid idea that I'm still cooking in my head. So that's it for the Tamers, and then we go into these lovely amount of option cards. I'm running the Crimson Blaze, which is great for removal. It's actually with a lot of these floaters and anti-cards floating around. The offensive training, well, because every card in this deck, with the exception of 1, 2, 3 cards that this can't pick up, are all red. So the chances of getting into the pieces that I need are going to be helpful, and then reducing the cost of them thanks to offensive training. I guess you can run agility training if you want to, but it kind of offsets this deck because it is dual color. So maybe when the scrambles come out, I can try to use them instead as well. So it depends. I think the scrambles themselves are set to various colors as well. Atomic Inferno to give security attack +1 and 3k DP, while also as it's inheritable, I can give one of my opponent's Digimon, Digimon 3k DP. I mean, my Digimon security attack +1. And then Gravity Crush, which is just good for the trying to get you some extra memory. The other thing I should mention is Crimson Blaze's second effect, which is that your opponent can't play Digimon by effects until the end of the next turn, which is definitely useful with a lot of decks that try to spam out a lot of monsters and stuff like that. So, yeah, alright, that's pretty much the lineup of things here in terms of this red and green hybrid deck. Yes, I know it has a lot of icks. Yes, I know it needs a lot of fixing. Yes, I know there's a lot of things that definitely need to be dealt with, and I will deal with them as the time comes. But until then, this is what I have, what I'm sticking with, and then I will cross those bridges when they come. So, with that in told and with things said, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Do, like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, because all of that helps out tremendously, especially when you subscribe. Also, hit the notification bell to be informed of when I upload more content. My social media links are in the description box below. You can check out my other Digimon videos and other content through the playlist in the previous video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and with that said, HPJ signing out. Take care.